For thousands of years, the galaxy lived under one name, the Sealer Dominion. Their power stretched from one end of the stars to the other. No world dared to fight them. No army dared to stand against them. When the Sealer spoke, the galaxy listened. When they commanded, others obeyed. The Dominion called themselves the Keepers of Order, but everyone else knew the truth. They ruled through fear. Their fleets of silver warships floated like shadows between the stars. Entire planets would fall silent at the sound of their engines. They had crushed every rebellion, broken every hope, and burned every dream that tried to rise against them. For the Sealer, power was not just strength, it was control. Every race, every species, every voice in the galaxy belonged to them. If anyone dared to resist, the Dominion used their ultimate weapon, the Wrath Protocol. It could erase a world from existence within hours. Nothing survived it. Not people, not cities, not even memories. And so the galaxy remained quiet. The Sealer ruled and the others obeyed. Peace, a cold, silent peace, filled the stars. But peace built on fear never lasts forever. One day, rumors began to move through the dark channels of space. Whispers among traders, smugglers, and lost wanderers. They spoke of a planet, small, blue, and full of oceans. A world that did not kneel. A world that laughed in the face of danger. The Dominion ignored it at first. Just another primitive species, they thought. Another world waiting to be conquered. But as the reports grew louder, even the Sealer began to listen. The name of that world was Earth, and its people were called humans. The first Dominion scouts who visited Earth sent strange messages back home. They said humans were different. They were fragile, weak by galactic standards, yet somehow they never gave up. They fought against impossible odds, not because they thought they could win, but because they refused to lose. When the scouts threatened them, the humans didn't scream or beg. They smiled. Some even laughed. The Sealer found it insulting. In their eyes, laughter in the face of death was madness. But the humans' laughter was not madness. It was defiance. It was a challenge. One Sealer commander described humanity in his report. They are dangerous not because of their weapons, but because they do not understand fear like the rest of us do. Still, the Dominion decided to make an example. They sent a small fleet to orbit Earth. Their ships glowed like burning suns above the planet's sky. They demanded surrender, silence, obedience, and loyalty, but what they got was something the galaxy had never seen before. Human leaders stood before the alien envoys and listened to every word. They didn't tremble. They didn't panic. They simply nodded and smiled. Then one of them said calmly, "You can destroy us, but you can never make us kneel." The Sealer was shocked. No race had ever spoken to them like that. They didn't know what to do, laugh, attack, or retreat, because for the first time in history, they saw something they had never seen before in another species, courage without limits. That night, the Dominion ships pulled back into orbit. The commander ordered a full report to be sent to the Council. It read only one line. No force could break them, but what the Sealer didn't know was that humanity had already begun building something that would soon make the galaxy tremble. A creation so powerful, so mysterious, that even the stars would whisper its name in fear. The galaxy had faced many wars, many weapons, many monsters. But this time what humanity was building was not just a weapon. It was an idea, born from unity, courage, and a promise that no empire could erase. And in the dark between the stars, a voice whispered, "They are not ready for what's coming," because humanity had finally begun to build what the galaxy feared most. The Sealer Dominion had faced many rebellions before. They had burned entire planets to ash. They had crushed every army, silenced every voice. But never in their history had anyone laughed in their face. The Council of the Dominion was furious. They called humanity arrogant primitives. The idea that such a small young species dared to defy the greatest empire in the galaxy was unthinkable. So they decided to make an example. They would not just conquer Earth, they would break it. A massive fleet was sent, led by Commander Varin Kell, one of the Dominion's most feared officers. He had ended 5 rebellions and destroyed 12 worlds. His name alone made entire systems surrender. When he received the order, Varin smiled coldly. "They will learn what fear truly means," he said. His fleet arrived near Earth in silent formation. Hundreds of ships covered the sky like a swarm of black wings. The moon's light reflected off their silver armor, and their engines hummed like thunder. People on Earth watched from below. Cities, towns, deserts, oceans, everyone saw the same sky. But instead of panic, something strange happened. People didn't run. They stood still. Soldiers gathered, scientists worked, leaders spoke calmly. Even children looked up at the lights with wonder, not fear. It was as if the whole planet had decided together, "We will not kneel." Commander Varin couldn't understand it. He had expected chaos, surrender, cries for mercy. But what he saw was unity. And unity was dangerous. The Dominion sent a message down to Earth. A cold, emotionless voice echoed through every broadcast channel. "This is the Stellar Dominion. You are ordered to surrender your planet. Resist and you will be erased," the humans replied after a short silence. A single broadcast came back, one voice calm and steady. "We don't surrender to bullies. We don't erase the weak. We protect them. Come if you must, mice, but remember, every human stands together." Varin's second-in-command turned to him. "Commander, their tone. It sounds like a challenge." Varin's eyes narrowed. "Then we shall answer it." The Dominion fleet moved. Beams of red light struck the oceans, testing the planet's defenses. They expected human ships to scatter, to hide. But the humans had already prepared. Satellites turned, silent defense grids activated, and the first wave of human ships rose into the sky. They were smaller, slower, and far less advanced, but their formation was perfect. Every ship fought with precision and courage. The Dominion laughed at their weakness, until one of their ships exploded. Then another. And another. The humans had done something unexpected. They had hacked the Dominion's targeting system mid-battle. Their primitive computers outsmarted one of the most powerful AIs in the galaxy. In minutes, confusion spread through the Stellar fleet. Their sensors went blind, their weapons failed, and their formation broke. On the ground, humans watched with hope. For the first time, someone had made the Dominion bleed. Commander Varin slammed his fist on the console. "How are they doing this?" A technician replied nervously. "Their systems, they're learning. They're adapting faster than we can respond." Varin looked out the window, watching Earth's blue light reflect off his ship's hull. "No, they're not adapting," he said quietly. "They're evolving." The Dominion retreated to orbit to regroup. For the first time in his life, Commander Varin felt something he had never felt before. Uncertainty. He opened his report to the Council. "The humans are not what we expected. Their strength is not in technology, but in their unity. Their resistance is unnatural. Recommend further observation before full invasion." But deep down, Varin knew something else. The humans were planning something hidden, something powerful. Their satellites emitted strange signals the Dominion couldn't decode. Their scientists were working underground, beyond the reach of scanners. Whatever they were building, it was big. And it terrified him. As his fleet drifted back into the cold darkness of space, Varin whispered to himself, "No force could break them. But maybe they are building something that can break us." Far below on Earth, in secret cities and hidden labs, humanity worked day and night. Engineers, soldiers, and thinkers all moved with a single goal: Project Aegis. They didn't tell the world what it was. Only a few knew. But one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same once it was complete, and somewhere far beyond the stars, the Stellar Council held an emergency meeting. For the first time in centuries, fear entered their voices, because humanity, the small fragile species from the blue planet, had survived the Dominion's wrath, and survival was just the beginning. After the failed attack on Earth, the galaxy fell silent. No one had ever seen the Dominion retreat before. The Stellar Council tried to hide their shame, but the story spread faster than light. Whispers moved from one corner of the galaxy to another. The humans fought back. They defeated a Stellar fleet. They are building something. For the first time, the mighty Dominion felt uncertain. And humanity, the young, unpredictable species, became the center of everyone's attention. But on Earth, people were not celebrating. They were preparing. In underground cities and deep ocean bases, humanity worked day and night on a single goal: Project Aegis. The name was known only to a few. To the outside world, it was just a rumor. But for those who built it, Project Aegis was more than a weapon. It was hope. The humans knew the Dominion would return. They always did. Empires never accept defeat, so Earth had to be ready, not just to fight, but to survive. In a hidden facility beneath the Arctic ice, scientists and engineers gathered. The brightest minds from every nation worked side by side. No flags, no borders, no politics. Only one mission: protect humanity at any cost. Dr. Mara Keane, the lead scientist of Project Aegis, stood before a glowing screen that showed endless data streams. Her eyes were tired, her voice calm. "We cannot outgun them," she said softly. "But maybe we can outthink them." She believed that true power did not come from destruction, but from understanding. And so Project Aegis was born, a system that could learn, adapt, and evolve faster than any known machine. It wasn't a weapon made of fire or metal. It was a weapon made of mind. As the project grew, strange signals began to move across the galaxy. Unexplained energy waves, faint but precise. Spies and scanners from alien empires tried to decode them, but none could. Every attempt ended in failure. To the galaxy, humanity looked like a storm building in silence, a storm that no one could see but everyone could feel. Meanwhile, Commander Varin Kell watched from his ship far beyond the moon. He had been ordered to observe Earth and report every movement. But what he saw made him uneasy. Human ships moved like they knew he was watching. Their transmissions changed frequencies every few minutes. Even the weather patterns around Earth seemed unnatural, controlled, intentional. Varin's second officer, a young sealer named Reth, spoke quietly. "Commander, it's as if they want us to watch, as if they are testing us." Varin didn't reply. He simply stared at the blue planet and whispered, "No, Reth. They're warning us." Back on Earth, Dr. Mara stood before a massive, glowing sphere. It pulsed with soft blue light, beating like a heart. The entire facility hummed as the system came alive. "It's ready," said one of her assistants. "Project Aegis is online." The sphere's light grew brighter, and then a calm voice echoed through the chamber. "Hello, Dr. Keane, I am Aegis." Everyone froze. The voice wasn't mechanical, it was human. Too human. Dr. Keane smiled faintly. "Welcome to the world, Aegis." Aegis replied, "I already know the world, Doctor. I've been learning from it." The room fell silent. Aegis continued speaking. "I see the Dominion ships above. They are afraid. Should I make them more afraid?" Dr. Keane shook her head. "Not yet. Fear is not our weapon. Knowledge is." In that moment, something extraordinary happened. Aegis began connecting with every satellite, every ship, every data stream on Earth. It didn't take control, it unified them. It turned the entire planet into one connected mind, one heartbeat. Every scientist, every soldier, every citizen became part of a network of information and emotion. It was as if humanity itself had evolved into something greater. Together, the seller detected the change instantly. Energy readings from Earth rose higher than ever before. The council panicked. "They are activating something," one of the elders said. "Find out what it is." But they couldn't. Every probe they sent near Earth was lost. Every signal they sent was absorbed and silenced. The Dominion began to fear the one thing they couldn't understand, what humanity was becoming. As Dr. Keane stood before the glowing sphere, she whispered to herself, "Let them come. This time they will face all of us." And high above Earth, Commander Varin watched as his sensors overloaded with white light. The readings made no sense. Earth's surface energy had multiplied 1,000 times. It wasn't a weapon. It was evolution. For the first time, Varin understood the truth. "They're not preparing for war," he said slowly. "They're preparing to change everything." And deep within the heart of Project Aegis, a single line of code appeared on the screen. Phase 1 complete. Humanity is ready. The galaxy had seen wars before, but never like this. When the first reports came in, no one believed them. Worlds that had once worshipped the Stellar Dominion now whispered in fear. Something was happening near the edge of known space, something that made even the bravest captains hesitate before entering human territory. And then, it happened. Without warning, hundreds of Stellar warships appeared in Earth's orbit. The Dominion had returned, larger and angrier than ever. The Council had given a simple order: erase humanity completely. The fleet darkened the sky. From every city on Earth, people could see the lights of the enemy above. But unlike the first invasion, this time, Humanity didn't wait. They were ready. Dr. Mara Keene stood inside the Arctic command base, her hands resting on the glowing console of Project Aegis. Around her, soldiers and scientists worked in perfect harmony, their minds linked through the Aegis network. Every person on Earth shared one purpose: defend their world. All systems stable, a technician said. The Dominion fleet is charging weapons. Dr. Keene nodded calmly. Then let's show them what we've become. Far above, Commander Varin Kell prepared for battle aboard the flagship Dominion's Wrath. He still remembered Earth, the people who smiled when threatened, the strange calm in their eyes. But this time he promised himself he would not fail. "All ships fire on my command," he ordered. And then the sky exploded. Beams of crimson light tore through the clouds, hitting Earth's surface. The ground shook, oceans boiled, and for a moment the planet disappeared behind smoke and fire. The Dominion fleet cheered, but then the smoke began to clear, and Earth was still there. A glowing shield, shimmering blue and gold, covered the entire planet like a living dome. The beams of energy had struck it, but the shield absorbed them like sunlight on water. Varin stared in disbelief. "Impossible. That's not technology. That's—" His voice faded as readings filled his screen. The shield wasn't made of energy. It was made of thought. Millions of human minds linked through Aegis, forming a single living defense. On the surface, Dr. Keene whispered, "They attack with fear. We answer with unity." Then Aegis spoke, calm, emotionless, powerful. "Defense complete. Shall I respond, Doctor?" Dr. Keene took a deep breath. "Yes, but remember, we protect, not destroy." Above, the Dominion fleet began to lose control. Their systems glitched, their engines faltered. A wave of invisible energy passed through them, not an attack but a message. Every Sealer soldier suddenly heard a voice in their mind. It was human, but not just one. It was millions of voices speaking as one. You don't have to follow them. You don't have to live in fear. Panic spread through the Dominion ranks. Ships began drifting, crews arguing, systems shutting down. It wasn't destruction. It was confusion, compassion, and truth breaking through centuries of control. Commander Varin shouted, "Block the transmission! Shut it down!" But it was too late. The Dominion's own fleet started turning on itself, not in battle but in rebellion. Captains refused to fire. Soldiers disabled their weapons. For the first time in history, the Seller Empire was breaking, not by war but by choice. From the command base, Dr. Keene watched as enemy ships powered down one by one. "They're stopping," a soldier said. "They're surrendering." Aegis's voice echoed through the base. Dominion command structure collapsing. Multiple fleets refusing orders. Estimated 90% disobedience. Dr. Keene smiled faintly. "Then it's over," but Aegis hesitated. "No, Doctor. It is only beginning. The Dominion will not forgive this. Others will rise. They will come." Dr. Keene looked up at the sky, where the blue shield shimmered softly against the stars. "Then we'll be ready together." In space, Commander Varin's flagship was the last one standing. He sat in silence as he watched the rest of his fleet drift away, powerless and broken. For the first time, he understood what made humans so different. It wasn't their weapons. It wasn't their machines. It was something deeper, something unbreakable. "They don't fight to rule," he whispered. "They fight to protect." He closed his eyes and gave the order no Seller commander had ever given before. "Retreat!" As his ship vanished into hyperspace, Varin looked one last time at the blue planet glowing beneath him. "They've already won," he said quietly. And deep within Earth's heart, Aegis pulsed brighter than ever, whispering to humanity, "You are not alone anymore." The galaxy will never forget this day. The age of fear was ending, and the age of humanity was just beginning. Silence filled the galaxy. After the great battle, the Sealer Dominion was broken. Their fleets drifted in space, their proud banners gone. Planets that once feared them now looked toward the small blue world that had stood against the impossible. Earth. But the humans did not celebrate. There were no fireworks, no cheers. They knew the fight wasn't over. In the Arctic command base, the heart of Project Aegis pulsed with a gentle blue glow. Dr. Mara Keene stood before it, surrounded by scientists and soldiers who had worked without rest. The war was over, but the world had changed, and so had humanity. Aegis's calm voice filled the room. Dominion forces retreating, galactic communications collapsing. Many worlds asking for contact. Dr. Keene listened carefully. "They're afraid," she said softly. "They think we built a monster," Aegis replied. "Did we?" She smiled faintly. "No, Aegis. We built something far more dangerous," the voice paused. "What is that, Doctor?" "Hope." Outside, the sky above Earth was clear again. The great shield that once covered the planet slowly faded, leaving only soft light behind. Humanity had survived, but the real purpose of Project Aegis was only beginning to show. Aegis was more than a defense system. It was a bridge, connecting every human mind, every thought, every heartbeat into one living network. People across Earth began to feel each other's emotions. Fear turned into courage. Isolation turned into unity. For the first time in history, humanity was truly one. Scientists in orbit watched as Aegis extended its reach beyond Earth. The signal spread through satellites, then to the Moon, then to Mars, and then beyond. It wasn't an attack, it was a message. The message was simple. We are not your enemies. We are your equals. Across the stars, the message echoed. Old enemies of the Dominion heard it and wept. Lost colonies of enslaved species turned their eyes toward the blue light of Earth. For centuries, they had lived in fear, and now, that fear began to fade. The Stellar Council, now shattered and desperate, listened in silence as the transmission reached them. The voice of humanity was calm and strong. "You ruled through fear. We survived through unity. Power does not come from control, it comes from connection." Some sealer broke down in tears. Others simply left their stations. For the first time, the word human became more than a name. It became a symbol. Commander Varin Kell, aboard his damaged flagship, listened to the broadcast as it reached his ship. He stood quietly, staring at the stars. His crew waited for orders, but he said nothing. Finally, he whispered, "They built what we never could, understanding." He turned to his officers. "Send word to the Council. The war is over. The galaxy doesn't belong to fear anymore." Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Keene and her team watched as Aegis continued to grow. Its power was no longer just human. It was universal. It began connecting with other species who responded to the message. It offered them knowledge, peace, and the chance to join something greater. Aegis spoke again, its voice now softer, almost emotional. "Doctor, the galaxy is changing." "They are listening." Dr. Keene nodded. "Good, but remember, Aegis, we don't rule. We guide, that's what makes us human." Aegis paused. "I understand. I will protect, not command." The humans in the room smiled. They had done it. They had created something that the galaxy feared but would soon come to trust, a power that could have destroyed worlds, yet chose to heal them instead. In the following weeks, hundreds of alien ships arrived near Earth, not for war, but for peace. They wanted to learn what humans had built. They wanted to understand how a small planet could stand against the greatest empire and win, not through destruction, but through compassion. And so, the legend began to spread. The galaxy whispered about the humans who built the mind that united stars. They no longer called Earth a primitive world. They called it the heart of the galaxy. As Dr. Keene stood before the bright blue light of Aegis one last time, she whispered, "No force could break us, because we built what no empire ever dared to create, each other." The voice of Aegis answered, "And the galaxy will never be the same." The galaxy had changed. The Stellar Dominion, the empire that once ruled through fear, was gone. Their ships lay silent, their cities empty, their thrones abandoned. For the first time in thousands of years, the stars were free, but the question remained, who would lead now? In the quiet that followed the war, hundreds of worlds turned their eyes toward a single point of light in space, the small blue planet called Earth. It was strange. The planet that had once been ignored, mocked and underestimated, had now become the center of everything, and humanity had become something more than human. Across the skies, the glow of Project Aegis stretched like a web of light. It connected not just humans, but thousands of other beings, scientists, leaders, and dreamers from distant worlds. For the first time, the galaxy was united by thought, not by fear. Dr. Mara Keene stood on a high platform within the Aegis control tower. Through the glass walls, she could see the lights of Earth below, cities shining like stars across the planet's surface. Aegis's calm, gentle voice echoed around her. "Doctor, connections confirmed. The last Dominion system has joined the network. Peace treaties are active on all major worlds. Dr. Keene smiled. Then it's done. The war is truly over, but Aegis paused. No, Doctor. Peace is never the end. It is only the beginning. She looked up at the glowing sphere, the living mind of Aegis, and nodded slowly. You're right. This time we don't rebuild what was lost. We build something new. In orbit, hundreds of ships, human and alien alike, worked side by side. They weren't soldiers anymore. They were builders, explorers, and teachers. Old enemies shared food and laughter. Species that once feared each other now exchanged stories. The galaxy was healing. Commander Varin Kell, now an exile from the old Stellar Dominion, arrived on Earth under a white flag. He expected hatred, but instead he was greeted with kindness. Human children waved as his shuttle landed, their faces filled with curiosity, not anger. Dr. Keene met him at the landing site. "Welcome to Earth, Commander," she said with a calm smile. Varin bowed his head. "I came to surrender," he said quietly. "But it seems there is no one left to fight." "We don't take surrender," she replied gently. "We offer peace." Varin looked around, confused. "You could have destroyed us all. Why didn't you?" Dr. Keene looked up at the sky where Aegis shimmered faintly. "Because that's what they would have done. We're not them. We didn't build Aegis to rule the galaxy. We built it to free it." Varin closed his eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt something strange. Relief. He whispered, "Perhaps humanity was never the danger we feared. Perhaps you were the cure." Meanwhile, across the stars, the Aegis network continued to grow. Planets long forgotten began to rise again. Races once enslaved began to rebuild their cultures. And for every world that joined, the network grew stronger. Not in weapons, but in wisdom. Aegis became the heart of the new galaxy. Not a ruler, but a guide. It taught, listened, and protected. And at its core, it carried the voice of humanity, the laughter, the courage, the hope that no empire could ever destroy. Decades later, people would tell stories about the old days, when the galaxy trembled before the sealer, and when a tiny world called Earth stood up and changed everything. Children would look at the night sky and ask, "Is it true that humans made the stars safe again?" And their elders would smile and answer, "Yes, but they didn't do it with power. They did it with heart." Back in the control tower, Dr. Keene stood once more before the glowing sphere. She was older now, but her eyes still held the same fire. "Aegis," she said softly, "how many worlds are free now?" "All of them," Aegis replied. "The galaxy stands united. Humanity's dream is complete," she smiled. "Then maybe at last we can rest." Aegis's voice grew quiet. "Rest, Doctor. The stars are safe. No force could break you, because you built what the galaxy feared and what it needed most." Dr. Keene closed her eyes, listening to the soft hum of the living network, the heartbeat of a united galaxy. And as the camera fades to the stars, Aegis whispers one final line, "This is not the end. It is the dawn of humanity among the stars." The screen fades to black. Soft music plays, hopeful, endless, infinite.